It's absolutely fantastic to have you here this morning, Lindsey. She's going to be showing some of the amazing work that this charity is doing. So, and look at your amazing rainbows on your wall as well. Lindsey, over to you. And let's hope, fingers crossed, all the technology works for you.
Yeah, I've got everything crossed. Lovely to meet you all. I am Lindsey. I'm from Diversity Role Models, and I've come to talk to you today about something that really is at the heart of what we do. It is our role models. It's in our title, and the power that their stories can have in embedding inclusion and empathy, both in young people and adults as well. So I always start with this question, and so it's what did you have for breakfast 3 weeks ago, and what did Goldilocks eat when she visited the three bears? I'd be very surprised if the second one wasn't much easier to answer than the first, even though you probably haven't heard that story in years. For me, it's probably 30 years plus. I know very much that Goldilocks ate porridge, and I don't know what I had for breakfast 3 years ago. Stories stick with us, and stories can be incredibly impactful. Um, we were founded on a story. We were founded by a lady called Saran about 8 years ago, and it was this story that led her to found DRM. And it was a story of the young man in the middle there called Dominic. Dominic played a game of spin the bottle while on a school trip. He was dared to kiss a boy. He kissed him. A photograph was taken, and what followed was homophobic language, taunts, attitudes, beliefs towards Dominic, whispers, rumours. And sadly, as a result of that, he took his own life in 2015. And Saran felt that we needed to push forward with this, and we needed to tackle kind of what was going on in schools in terms of prejudice language and those attitudes and beliefs of young people. And that's exactly what we've done. DRM continues to grow. We are a charity that works for education for inclusion. And at the heart of what we do is our role model stories. And it's the heart of everything we do: our workshops, our staff and governor training, our parent and carer workshops. And our vision is simple. We want an education system where all young people feel accepted and encouraged to be themselves and thrive. For me, it's the power of a story and the power of storytelling that really does see us achieve in this area, and really does make a difference with the people that we work with. Um, for me, storytelling is everyday life. It goes beyond physical books and social media outlets. It's them everyday interactions that we have with people, and these stories really do shape how we perceive the world, and the world around us. And this is one of my favorite quotes from Ed Miller here, kind of talking about kind of what stories bring to us, and the way they pass along, and the way that they kind of shape who we are and what we believe. And for me, storytellers, they have that art of relaying human experiences. And it's though that relaying of human experiences, and our role models really are incredible at this, that both educate but changes attitudes and beliefs. And like I say, not just in young people, but the adults that we work with as well. There's been lots of research around this, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But this idea that stories can have the power to embed empathy and break down those barriers, it's so powerful. And obviously, not to quote Spider-Man, but with great power comes great responsibility. And it's really important that we use that storytelling and we harness that to really embed inclusion and make a difference. And for us, the way that this storytelling embeds inclusion and bringing kind of role models into the classroom, whether that be live role models when we do our workshops or our staff training or our other trainings that we offer, or whether it be our wonderful multimedia resources where our role models are actually recorded telling their stories. It brings visibility to the classroom and to adult audiences. It brings representation of all different types of identities. It brings an understanding of people's experiences. And often our stories are intersectional as well. So it's that idea that you're not just having one lived experience when it comes to your identity, you're having multiple kind of lived experiences. There's been lots of science and research done around this, and when somebody is hearing a story, the release of oxytocin, which is key in embedding empathy, and also that neuro mirroring, that we are able to actually feel what the storyteller is feeling. I don't know if you've ever kind of even watched or read a fictional story, something that we know is not real, but it gives you that lump in your throat. I'm kind of thinking when Bambi's mum died or something like that, that lump in your throat, you can actually feel what the character is feeling or what the storyteller is feeling. It's called neuromirroring, and that is, a kind of key in embedding that empathy. And as you embed that empathy and you break down those barriers and you create that understanding, the change is, we say cooperative behavior, but that idea of kind of, like stopping that kind of prejudice views and breaking those attitudes and beliefs. We know that stories embed in your memory. You're 22, apparently 22 more times more likely to remember a story than you are just facts. Um, and it's that attitude change that the story can achieve that can be incredible, as well as oxytocin. When you hear a story, dopamine is released as well. Like I say, these two things are key in really kind of changing those attitudes and beliefs in the person that is listening to that story. Um, for me, representation is key. This is one of my favourite quotes and something we share when we're doing our staff training. That idea that stories can empower certainly young people that we work with, and that idea of visualising, which I'll talk in a minute, but feeling represented in the classroom. And I know it's something that colleagues have also mentioned today, that they can see themselves reflected in someone else's story. It broadens their horizons, and I like that idea of them feeling that anything is possible. A lot of our role model stories have that real positive uplifting ending as well, and them seeing kind of what they can become or where they can go, and how their life can be as well, I think is incredibly powerful. And for me, the classroom is the perfect place to do this, to share these stories and celebrate these stories. um Utilizing, I like to mention, utilizing people of all identities is significant in the classroom, especially in stories. It's really important that the stories that we tell mirror our diverse society, and also that young people know that those different kind of identities exist. A lot of the schools that we're working in, have a limited demographic. So actually, our role model stories sometimes for the young people, certainly, it's the first time they've met or heard a story from someone with that identity, which is incredibly powerful. I've told you that role models are at the heart of everything we do. I'd like to share, hopefully, can you just tell me that the sound is working? I'd like to share, but I'm running out of time. One of our role model actual stories. These are all available on Vimeo, so rather than share them, I'll let you go and have a look at yourself at them. There is 15 videos currently up there, and we're uploading another 15 on the 20th. With each video comes a toolkit, so like a little toolkit that teachers can use with activities and keywords and questions about the video as well. So it doesn't have to be DRM delivering these stories. These are free and widely available for educators and adults all around the world to bring these stories to listeners and have these stories heard. Currently, our stories cover a range of topics, but we have been funded by the DFE to deliver an Embracing Difference anti-bullying project, and they have paid for us to record 15 more videos covering even more of the protected characteristics. So the 15 that we are going to upload will have even more. And I think it's just incredible that we're getting these stories into the classroom and to these educators as well. And this is a funded project, so we're actually offering staff training for free, and that is when we talk about these role models, and we kind of talk about utilizing and everything else. So I'd just like to leave you with this: we are always looking for more role models. So if you want to become a role model, I know that Hannah said she'll share our leaflet and it'll show you how to sign up. Or if you know anybody that would want to become a role model, I think they have an incredible part to play in kind of embedding inclusion in our schools, but also in society as well. I think I finished on time. Hopefully I have. So I think we're over to Q&A.
Yep, that's right. Thank you so much, Lindsey. The work that you do is absolutely phenomenal. The fact that there are free resources out there for teachers is just something that is, a gold mine for anyone who's delivering to young people. I have a few questions because these things always come up when we talk about role models and stories, and particularly around LGBT community. If you work in a faith school or in a multicultural setting, what advice would you give about using these resources, how you get this into the curriculum, and whether you've had any experience actually doing this?
So the beauty of the kind of resources that we provided, rather than being kind of lesson plan focused, they are focused all around the story. So this could be something that you use. I know a lot of PSHE has sadly been moved to farm time. I could talk a whole host on my views on that. But this idea that it could literally be a 15-minute slot where you explore the video and do one of the activities, or you could create an entire lesson around the role model videos. We've set them up in such a way that the teacher can use them in a multitude of ways, because we know that curriculum time can be a struggle, and many different schools deliver RSE and PSHE in different ways. So it is entirely up to, I guess, the teacher to feel how that works for them, and we've set that up in a way where it can be used in a multitude of ways.
Fab. I think it's important for our teachers to feel comfortable in their setting when delivering this work. I know that some people feel a little bit nervous, particularly in faith settings and multicultural settings, about potential backlash about using LGBT role models in particular. But that, like you said, that's a judgment call and a decision that's made by the school.
That is actually a massive part of our training as well. So the staff training, that the DFE staff training that we're currently delivering to schools for free, it's funded by the DFE, like I say, actually looks at how you overcome those challenges. Certainly faith challenges and LGBT plus challenges, as we know that sadly they receive kind of the biggest obstacles, certainly from parents. So we actually look to build staff confidence in our staff training. And then once they're feeling confident, then the resources is the natural next step.
And it certainly plugs a gap. I was having a conversation the other day about LGBT representation in literature, and actually finding positive stories with LGBT characters that can be used in the curriculum is actually quite hard. You've got all sorts of barriers to kind of positive representation of LGBT folks, and I think this again provides another way in to telling those stories.
Certainly, and we've also so as part of our staff training that we offer, we do a post training pack, and our team has actually gone and found those reading lists covering all the protected characteristics and those resources as well as our own, because there is such fantastic resources out there, but often educators don't have the time to source them, or there's a nervousness. So we've kind of done a lot of that work as well, with the hope that we really can bring not just our resources, but the other wonderful resources out there into the classroom.
Last question. I've seen notice a question from the audience. Glyn Hawk says he's had a look at the stories. Are any of them suitable for primary schools?
Yes, so we state on the resources what age group we recommend them for. There is certainly primary on there, and as of the 20th, please do look out. We've uploaded even more primary. That's something that we're really trying to work on. The DFE are funding primary workshops as well with our new project, so we've really tried to create kind of those resources that will benefit in a primary setting as well. And when we recorded our new videos, we did that in mind. So the language that is used by the role models and the way that they tell the story is aimed at Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Lindsey. It's been fascinating hearing from you, and thank you for all the work that you do.